Hey folks, the Dragonflight trailer just dropped earlier today, and I just thought I would be giving my thoughts on this. Basically, I've been looking into the developer interviews here, and I decided to run with some Grizzly Hills music in the background because they mentioned that it was one of their inspirations for one of their zones here that they were designing, and plus also it's kind of to celebrate that Wrath of the Lich King classic launch that they announced as well. Wrath of the Lich King, of course, has a very special place in my heart. You know, started in vanilla, as a very young child, but Wrath of the Lich King was that zone where I was able to really understand what was going on, and I'm definitely thinking about jumping back in for Wrath Classic and maybe playing some Shadow Priest like I used to back in the day in ICC. But here we're here to talk about mainly this trailer here, and not really even the trailer itself, because the trailer itself doesn't show much at all, and doesn't give us an idea of what's really going on, to go on in the expansion. We're just looking at some basic information here, and we don't really have even much context as to what the Spire is, what everything is going on, and I don't even know who the broken guy in the throne is. So really, the trailer isn't 100% the reason for my hype, and even then, it's, of course, a very, very mild and reserved hype. The main thing that I am looking forward to is the Evoker class. So we won't focus too much on the cinematic since there wasn't much substance there. I'll focus mostly on what we did learn after the cinematic in interviews. So the Evoker class is something I'm very interested in, especially because it's the first ranged DPS class that Blizzard has ever released after launch in 2004. That was an amazing little tidbit of information that I didn't really put together before, but it makes perfect sense because I have been missing out on that range DPS and feeling the need to really try more, and to have more options in the game. At this point in time, the only thing that I was playing in Shadowlands and the only thing I was interested in playing in Shadowlands was the Marksmanship Hunter. Beastmastery was fine and everything, but Hunter basically was the only thing I was interested in. Shadow Priest has been pretty much broken since the Insanity mechanic, in my opinion. I really didn't like Shadow after they changed that. And then after that, I mean, Elemental Shaman hasn't really been fun for me since Cataclysm either. So honestly, looking at the Evoker class and being a new ranged DPS option and a healer on top of that looks like it might be rewarding to try. So I don't mean to really go into it with flavor of the month idea in mind. Sometimes when a new class comes out, you might not be very interested in it, and some people jump on it because it is the new class. However, I'm really liking the Evoker's look because it is that ranged DPS option, and also because of the fact that it has the healing option too. And I also really like the idea and the design behind it, where the healing option is actually going to be based on the different magic types. So the healing magic is based off of green and bronze Dragonflight, and then the damage aspects will be off of red and blue magic, Dragonflight aspects as well. So I think that really makes a lot of sense. I've really been a big fan of the bronze Dragonflight when it comes to turning back time. I think that's really cool when it comes to reversing wounds, for example, that your allies will take. I think that fits really well, and so I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to the profession system because I have not liked professions since probably Burning Crusade, and even then I wasn't really into professions at the time because I never got to... I got to endgame, I was in Sunwell Plateau, but I was just running some dailies with my friend at the time. I wasn't raiding, I was such a young kid at the time that I don't really remember doing much professions, and especially not the endgame professions for Burning Crusade there. And then ever since then, I just have never been really that interested in it. But this new system does look like New World, the New World professions, and I was actually having a ton of fun when I was playing New World and hanging out with those professions. It was a great crafting system, and it has its ups and downs, of course, but it's much more engaging than the crafting systems that we have now. So I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to go forward, and I'm optimistic with caution, of course. The trailer itself didn't really impress me, but I'm happy to see in the interviews, they're going to have these new versions of old races, gnolls, Tuskar, and especially Centaur. I'm really looking forward to the Centaur. I've loved Centaur ever since Desolus, when you had to choose between the two clans there. I'm really looking forward to that. So at that point in time, I am just ready to see some of these old races again and being able to interact with these races that we haven't seen in a while, really. It's nice being back on Azeroth. I know that they probably will forget the big sword, but it doesn't really matter too much because the story has been pretty lackluster, to say the least, for a little while now. So, to be honest, if they're just letting go of the old story and kind of just going on a brand new direction, I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm perfectly okay also with not having a big bad guy. We don't need one, especially not the same random one that we've never heard of before, like the Jailer. I mean, it's just a random villain that they introduced and we haven't really heard of before, and then they tried to make them a big bad guy. To be honest, Warcraft has pretty much ruined a lot of the old characters from Warcraft 3, or if they didn't ruin them, their story has already been finished. I mean, it's an old game at this point, so we really shouldn't be basing our story off of these old characters. We need to move on, meet some new characters. So I'm honestly happy to see not only the old races, but I'm happy to see that there is no big bad guy. I'm okay with the Drakthir being only evokers and the evokers only being Drakthir, because, to be honest, it does add a little bit of flavor. And plus, the thing is, with the dragon aspects, the dragons, I'm pretty sure they can choose any race that they would like to be a part of, or basically turn into. So when I think about race selection, I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to select what we want to transform into. Blizzard has already confirmed that there's going to be a transform feature, so I'm not really too concerned about that. The thing that I am a little concerned about is we don't know anything about the systems yet. We don't know what we're going to be doing at endgame, how the daily grind is going to be. I haven't played World of Warcraft in quite a bit of time. I played it for the first couple of months of Shadowlands. Castle Nathria was fine, but it had too many RNG mechanics for me. I loved the design of Castle Nathria, and in Mythic, definitely the fights were pretty fun. There were some really cool strategies that you could go for, but really, to be honest, the RNG in the raid was what was getting me, because just certain pulls, you want to have those pulls where you know what's going to happen, you time it specifically, and then when it just randomly selects a person, there's not much choice in what happens in the pull. It just randomly selects certain people, drops a seed on their head. Hey, you have the seed. Go, you piece of shit. It just makes it a little bit more hectic than it really needs to be, in my opinion. But at the same time, I know in Mythic especially, you want to have a good raid team that is able to handle the mechanics. That's fine with me, but at the same time, I'm hoping that they cut down on some of the RNG there. Now, I don't mean to bring up Final Fantasy XIV, but it does share the same genre in gaming. It's the MMO genre here, and I do think that it makes, it is worth mentioning. I feel like I need to mention this, that please put my character into cutscenes. I would love to see my character interacting with the environment or interacting with what we're doing in order to show the importance of what's going on. I think that definitely we can move forward and have those abilities to, especially with today's technology. And like I mentioned, the Final Fantasy XIV has been doing this for a long time now, putting your character into these situations and not having them just get dropped when the important characters from Warcraft 3 need to have a line. I'm kind of done with the characters from Warcraft 3, to be honest. It's an amazing game, incredibly influential to my childhood, but that's the reason. I think that they don't need to keep including these things from my childhood and our childhoods that need to be butchered or not pulled off the way that we were really looking for. I think that we can definitely move forward and start a new story. What I saw actually was a nice comment where the lack of a primary focus in that trailer there, the cinematic trailer, actually leads you to believe that we might be able to go into just brand new adventures rather than having one big plot line. We have multiple little adventures in every little zone. And even then, a little adventure can turn into something greater. That's something about an adventure, you don't know where it goes. So if you know that you're going to kill a big bad guy at the end, that's kind of counterproductive. That makes it a quest. But if you want little journeys, adventures that go on and become something bigger organically, that is something that Vanilla WoW was able to portray and able to create for their player base. When we were playing Vanilla WoW, even in the release, the classic release here, just a couple of years ago, but especially back in the day when we didn't know what we were going into, that sense of mystery allowed you to create adventures, and you didn't need to have this overarching theme. The cinematic itself actually felt a lot like MoP, like Mists of Pandaria, and I'm completely okay with that. I really loved Mists of Pandaria, to be honest. I liked how the classes were back then. I liked how the art style was. I didn't mind Mists of Pandaria, to be honest, even during the release trailer, like a lot of people didn't like. I'm perfectly okay with the fact that we don't have a major design, like story. We're just going into this with new adventures on the horizon and exciting things to be looking forward to. I'm not currently playing WoW. This is really a video that I'm making in order to give my initial thoughts off of the reveal trailer and also the information that they gave us. I don't have a huge understanding of a lot of the systems that they're going to be releasing because they didn't really confirm if we're going to have borrowed power. They didn't confirm if we're going to have certain things that we might be really looking for, or not looking for, but looking to avoid, really. So, because, that's the thing, we went and, at least I went and started playing Final Fantasy XIV to really see what other games had to offer, and before that I had started playing Destiny 2, moved on from WoW, stopped playing it more and more as I went on, and ultimately haven't played it for a while now. I am excited. I was thinking about, honestly, I was already kind of thinking about WoW. I'd had that itch to play it again, as WoW players tend to do. I haven't subscribed again or anything else like that. I was thinking about maybe playing Classic, maybe playing Project Ascension, to be honest. We don't know when the release date is at this point in time, so it's something that we will be waiting for and also getting more information about, but we'll be giving it a fair shot over here. I'm going to be giving it a fair shot when it releases. I don't want to have any preconceived notions, but at the same time, Blizzard has just let us down so many times. I don't mean to be negative, especially at the end here, but Blizzard has let us down a lot of times. There's a lot of opportunities that they have missed the mark on. But at the same time, if you rely on the creation of another human being and your life revolves around that for your happiness, you're gonna usually end up pretty disappointed because people have other visions than you do, or they think differently than you do, so they think that this will be a compelling storyline, and really I have no interest in Sylvanas at all. They have completely ruined her. I don't really have any interest in a lot of these characters, to be honest. So I'd hate to see Thrall again. I'd hate to see a lot of these characters really come up again. I'm really excited about Rathian, and I'm excited about Kalecgos. I think that their new models look amazing. and I'm really excited to see what they provide to the story here. So, honestly, I want to have good high hopes, but at the same time, you know how it is. We've all had high hopes for a long time, since Cataclysm, basically. We've had high hopes, and they've kind of just been lowered with each release. We're just looking for something that we can sink our teeth into, not feel like our time is wasted, not feel like we need to log on every single day, but that we want to log on most days. You don't need to log on every day, but at the same time, it is an MMO. There is going to be a grind. I'm perfectly okay with that. I love to have a game that I can log on to every single day to be able to grind on, or to be able to just mess around in order to get small rewards here and there, because every small reward is that overall goal that you're reaching towards, that you're going to be going towards to the end game there. But with Shadowlands, and with Warlords of Draenor, Legion was a real what would I say here? I think that Legion was pretty lucky. Now, there's a lot of work going into it there, but I think that they really lucked out on the Legion formula, and that was even for me specifically. Some people hated the legendaries system, some people hated certain things about Legion. My wife, I remember, she did not like Legion at all, especially the storyline to get to your class hall and everything like that. She did, going in, getting your legendary weapon, that's something that did not vibe with her at all. I was a fan of it, but, I thought that they pulled it off all right, but at the same time, that doesn't work for certain people. So this is something where I know that there is difference of opinion. I know that certain people might watch that cinematic and think that it's amazing. I think it's fine, but I don't really care about. I knew that a dragon was gonna come in and grab the stone guy before he hit the ground. Like, it's just a cliche at this point. The dragons got there super fast too. They got there so fast that it's like they were ready for the beacon to go off, or they were already heading over there. I don't really understand the real point of the cinematic trailer. It does lead me to believe that they're probably not going to increase their storytelling or update their storytelling very much, which is one of those things. But at the same time, if the gameplay is good, the systems are good, the story is secondary. Especially in World of Warcraft, the story has always been secondary to the gameplay. For most people, especially people that I raided with, a lot of them didn't even know what the fuck was going on in the story. They just cared about, is it fun to log on and play every single day? So, to be honest, I'm just looking forward to the expansion with optimism, but really cautious optimism, of course. That's just how it is these days. It has to be that way with World of Warcraft, because that's Blizzard these days. And to be honest, that's been Blizzard for the past better half of a decade at this point. So, I have completely stopped playing all Blizzard games, but once this releases, I will give it a fair shot, of course. And I will probably be looking forward to Wrath of the Lich King Classic and try my hand at it as well. I'm going to be giving fair shots to everything. I want to be open-minded, but at the same time, we do have a little bit of bias as fans of Blizzard for so many years, for at least 20 years for me, because that's just how it is right now. That's how it is. That's how it's going to be. People can be mad at it. People can get angry. But the fact is that that's how it is. So, I hope that that's fair. This is my initial reaction. It just came out earlier today. These are just my thoughts, but I am looking forward to it. I want to try my hand at it. I would love to be able to play WoW again and feel that connection, with the game. Honestly, I hate to hate a game that I love so much. So, I'm looking forward to what is on the horizon with cautious optimism. And I feel like many of us are in that boat. I know many of us also have completely disregarded Blizzard and said, enough, we are done, and I completely respect that decision as well. There's principles that we all hold. There's certain limits that we all reach. And there's other games out there that we all play as well. And there's other games out there that are fun to play. So I completely understand everyone's opinion. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And I support you all in what you end up deciding to do. Thanks a lot for listening. I know that this went a little bit longer than I wanted, or that I planned, I should say. But it is just my raw thoughts on it. This isn't really edited when it comes to audio, so I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that you share your thoughts down below. Go ahead and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.